So you've decided that Granbury is where you want to live, but you're not sure if you want to build new or buy something existing. That's the million-dollar question, and we're going to jump into that right now. We're so glad you're joining in to look at buying versus building in Granbury, Texas. Be sure you stay tuned to the end because we do have a specific lot that's owned by a builder, and there's options. He's got a lender asset, so I just want to show you this lot. There's a great opportunity, so we're going to jump into that at the end, so stay tuned. We're going to highlight that and go over some of the options that might be available. But for now, we're going to focus in on the question, buying versus building, and the answer actually might surprise you. So first, when you look at building a home in Pecan Plantation or De Cordova or Rolling Creek Ranch or South Bend or wherever, whatever neighborhood you've got located, there are a bunch of pros to building a home. You can go in and select a lot that you want. You can go in and select elevations. You can help design the floor plan so you could have a more efficient layout. Some floor plans aren't exactly what you want, and therefore you're paying for square footage that you really don't need. So there are several layers of advantages, not to mention that you can customize the home and just make it yours. There are these aesthetic benefits as well. What are the drawbacks when you do that? Well, if you go and buy a lot and you do the dirt work and you go through the process of building, the add-ons and the upgrades, they do tend to start stacking up. So building does become the more expensive option rather than buying existing. Now, there's also amalgamations of you could buy existing and renovate into something, but then you're still kind of stuck with the floor plan. Or maybe you go and you get a spec home that's early in the build process where you can do some customizations while they're still building. So you have these three separate, maybe four options that you could kind of make the home yours in some specific ways. So we're gonna go highlight and go step by step through the process to help evaluate why each one is better for certain people and why the other maybe not the preferred choice. So let's start with building new, and we want to look at a few different levels of entry when someone is looking to build a home. You've got buyers that are building their first home. So think like D.R. Horton neighborhoods, 300,000 to 400,000 homes. Then you've got people that are moving up kind of their second midlife home. You're talking maybe 500 to 700. You've got people that are building their a little later than the midway point of life that are building, somewhere between 750 to $1 million potentially on average. And then you've got, the $1 million plus retirees that are, getting their last home a lot of times on the lake or something like that. So there's different levels of homes that are going to be available for each. What I want to do is go over kind of some pros of each stage. If you go in and buy something like a D.R. Horton home where they're doing a lot of concessions and buying down interest rates and helping you get homes at a really affordable rate, it's hard to compete with that because there is, warranties. The roof is new, the AC is new, all the mechanics of the home are new, so very low chance that you're going to have an extremely high expenditure that's going to be needed in the first 2 to 3 years of living in the home. Someone might say, well, the build quality is going to be a little less with D.R. Horton versus some of these others. Well, that's kind of baked into the pricing. That's a part of the whole evaluation, is that these homes are going to be built at a more mass scale in order to pass on some cost savings to the consumer. That is there, but you can do things to help mitigate it, home inspections and trying to make sure that you are paying attention to where the typical issues develop in these particular communities. Not to mention the fact that new builds also tend to have a lower footprint. So utility costs, they're going to be higher efficient ACs, there's going to be better insulation, maybe spray foam. These things are going to help bring down some of the monthly costs that are associated with some of these things as well. Homeowners insurance does tend to be a little lower on newer homes, so again, you're bringing down the cost a little bit as well. There are these aspects of buying an existing home that people don't factor in when you buy new, where you can create a little bit of cost savings on a monthly basis. Now, if you're looking at resale, what are some of the pros of that? Well, you buy resale, a lot of times it's going to be a lot quicker, unless the home is like a spec home that's already built and you're buying new. If you're looking, that's just as fast as any other. But if you're looking at kind of buying a lot, doing dirt work, getting evaluations, soil tests, and then building, you're looking at, closer to a year turnaround. Whereas if you go buy something that exists, you could go and have it within 30 days. There is that aspect of time, depending on what your situation is. Looking at location, there are not a lot of premium lots available in terms of comparison. You could go and look at some existing homes that are going to have beautiful lots with mature trees and great locations. There's just a lot more options for existing because Granbury has developed rapidly. So in some cases, the more premium locations are already built on. That's not always the case, but it is pretty typical. Price negotiation. This is a big one. This is really where I think the rubber meets the road, paddle meets the water, is someone that has an existing home is gonna, if they are serious about selling, they're having to compete with all of these new construction homes. And we're seeing some really good deals play out for buyers that are buying existing homes when they are able to identify a seller that is serious about selling, committed to selling, and is going to see it through. That is a situation that many sellers are in. For one reason or another, they're relocating, and they're going to have to do what it takes to sell in the current market. The market's not horrible, but the market is favoring buyers currently. And because of that, sellers happen to be negotiable in order to get a successful sale on the current market. And that's where we're at. Existing sales or existing homes are going to be susceptible to that pressure. Take, for example, let's compare buying a lot, doing dirt work, building a new home versus buying a spec home with a builder. Without being too terse, the builder, every day that he doesn't sell is money lost. And whenever you buy a lot and you hire that builder to build, every day that it's not sold is not money lost, because that's not the situation that we're in. So there is pressure on the builder or on the existing homeowner to sell. And there's not pressure on the builder that is building the custom home. Now, you could try to mitigate some of that with looking at maybe cost plus or different types of builder programs. But in general, I would say buying existing or buying something that is a spec or already finished is going to be the way for you to get the best price on the home, and that will affect your monthly payment. So that is a big consideration to look at when you're considering, do I want to buy or do I want to build? So let's review that one more time. There are hidden costs to buying or building, and we want to try to summarize those really quickly for you. So add-ons, upgrades, when you're building new construction, they add up quickly. Sometimes the amount of dirt work needed is more than you anticipate, and you have to get a construction loan, and those interest payments do add up over time. And so when you factor all of that in, there is a lot of money lost because of the situation. Okay, now flip it over and look at it buying a home. You've got home inspections, you've got appraisals, you've got potential issues coming up with an existing home where maybe the roof is not needing to be replaced, but it's probably going to need it in the next 5 years, and you're going to have to plan in and filing an insurance claim or handling that at the time that it comes up. So you've got these issues that come up with roofs or HVACs or things like that can come up that can cost money on the buying existing. Now, you can try to mitigate that in some form or fashion with doing home inspections, checking on things. Potentially you're looking at an existing home that has a roof that was just put on 2 years ago and an AC that's 3 years old, and therefore it's not a major concern. Okay, so then there are ways you can mitigate it by looking for the right property or factoring in any of those costs as a part of the offer when you make the original offer to the homeowner. So those are the kind of the hidden costs that we want to make sure we've got a good grasp of on either side. So let's review. I'll give you my opinion. Which one's better? Well, it depends on what your preferences are. Personally, I would love to go out 10, 15 acres, build a home, and design the home around my own personal needs. I would love to do that. That's something that I intend to do at some point. That's what I want to do. And the reason is because I live in a home today that's 4,500 square foot, and I don't need that much square footage. I would rather have something like 3,200. And with 3,200, I could have a more efficient layout that would feel bigger than 4,500. because I've got so much wasted space in this existing home. I bought this home and we renovated it and we kind of made it our own, okay? And we've done that several times. That's kind of our bread and butter for what we do as real estate agents. We go in, we find good deals, we renovate them, we live in them, live there for several years, and then you don't have capital gains taxes when you sell them. So there are the aspects of that we enjoy doing, but we're at a stage in life now where we would like to go and build, and there's a few things I would like to have in the home that wouldn't require a tremendous amount of square footage, but I could put them in locations like a home office that is tucked off the backside of my master closet that will be off in a corner where I can do videos like this at home without having to become a tyrant, making everyone be quiet around the house, you know? So there are things that I would love to be able to do that are challenging for me more so now than they will be, you know, in the future if I was able to build. Now, that's the situation I'm in. There's also the possibility that is just going to be cost prohibitive. Perhaps when I run the numbers and I look at the land and I put it all together, I might be spending more money than what I'm comfortable spending. And if that's the case, then I'm going to have to find an existing home and just make do with what do, you know? You just got to figure it out. So there is a possibility that I might not be able to do this because of cost. It might just be cost prohibitive. Now, for someone that is looking at it, getting my advice, if you're saying, I want to get the best bang for my buck, I want to get something that's relatively new, and here are the things that I want. Usually, buying something existing or buying something that is finished or close to finished is the best way for you to get the best value for your dollar. Buying a lot and building and going through the whole process is how you can get the best value for what you want. Like, you're not paying for a closet that's 5 foot bigger or 100 foot bigger than what you need. You're paying for a closet that you want, that's actually what you need, not something extra. So there is a sense of you're paying only for what you're wanting when you build. But dollar for dollar, building is going to be more per foot usually than buying something that's existing and getting, you know, having the pressures of needing to sell, helping you negotiate a better deal. So all in all, typically that's where most people land that reach out to me, is they land on buying existing in order to get a better deal on a property, in order to get the best value for what they're purchasing. When I say buying existing, it can be a new construction that's on the market that's finished, ready to go. So we've had several of those and we've gotten some good deals on them. And so I'm not necessarily taking those out. I'm putting those in with the existing because they are already built and there's a bit of pressure from the builder to sell them. They don't want them to sit. So there are some caveats on that too. So if the builder knows that they average, you know, a month on the market and that's just typical, then they're not going to be feeling any pressure at day 15. So that's so there's something to bear in mind too. That's going to be depending on the circumstances. So I told you that I wanted you to stay tuned until the end because I have a lot that we're going to do. So I am going to share my screen and I want to show you this lot. Here is a lot that we have in De Cordova Ranch. This property is situated on half an acre and it is owned by a builder that has a lender asset that could work out some very good terms for you. If you are in the trades, an electrician, a plumber, a roofer, someone that can come alongside of the builder and do some of the work yourself, we can actually work out opportunity for you to build in some quick sweat equity into the new build. So you can build a new home, and if you have some access to trades, or if you do the trades and you can work out a good deal potentially with the builder to bring down the cost, this would be an excellent opportunity to build a very nice home in a great community and do so with the opportunity to have some nice equity. So if you'd be interested in this is 3841 Legend Trail. I've got the owner's information. I can connect you directly with him and he can answer any questions that you may have. Potentially you'd be able to work out a pretty good deal. So highly recommend you check that out if you're in the market for it. And with that, we're going to sign off. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions, if you're thinking about building or buying or moving to Granbury and just want to chat, we'd love to visit with you. Call, text, or email. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. If we don't hear from you, hopefully we'll see you around Granbury sometime.